right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live, and before I get to my illustrious, distinguished panel, here to report on the 2016 candidates' favorables is my Newsmax TV colleague, Miranda Kahn. Miranda?
Steve, while they may sit on opposite sides of the fence, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump share one thing in common: likability, or should we say lack thereof.
If you're looking at the poll numbers, take a look. We're doing very well.
While that may be the case in some categories, if the presidential election were a popularity contest, let's just say Donald Trump.
The majority of voters saying they're unfavorable toward Trump.
And Hillary Clinton.
Her unfavorable numbers still remarkably high.
Would have their work cut out for them.
They're both damaged.
According to this latest Quinnipiac University poll, Clinton's unfavorable rating sits at a whopping 55%. But if you think that's bad, take a look at Donald Trump's numbers. He's at 63%.
Trump! No KKK, no fascist USA!
We've really never been in this situation before.
Meanwhile, a Morning Consult survey shows similar low ratings, but in that poll, Clinton's favorability rating is slightly higher and Trump's slightly lower, creating an almost even split.
We've never had a presidential race where both candidates have so many Americans who already are predisposed not to like them, to think negatively of them.
While that may be true, history also shows us that popularity doesn't necessarily equate to electability.
Lincoln grabbed the bull by the horns, and he succeeded.
President Abraham Lincoln and President Woodrow Wilson didn't have many fans either before they became president.
The Wilson administration is walking a tightrope.
And in most recent times, either did President Bill Clinton when he first ran for the Oval Office.
We need a president who will bring this country together, not divide it.
Compare their favorability ratings with that of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. The situation, well, doesn't seem so dire now, does it?
We are the future.
Despite the fact that neither candidate is well liked, Hillary Clinton still leads Donald Trump nationally by 10 points, at least according to the latest Quinnipiac University poll. Steve, back to you.
All right, and joining me now on the panel, we have Jonathan Tobin, senior editor for Commentary Magazine, and Kristin Tate is back, libertarian author, political columnist, founder of the libertarianchick.com, and author of Government Gone Wild. And Jonathan, I'm sorry, let me start with you. This negative, the negatives, the unlikability on both sides. What does that mean? How does that translate to you?
Well, I think the main thing we have to take away from it, other than the fact that it really is unprecedented to have two candidates who are really so disliked by so much of the country, is that I'm asking myself, how do either of them persuade people who are not already in their camp? You know, we know that we're kind of locked into bipartisanship. There's only so far down either of these two candidates can go. I mean, there's no way to have an all-out landslide like 1964 or 1972 because people just stick with their parties in a way that they didn't used to. The question is, the small number of people in the middle who are theoretically, you know, the people who will decide the swing states, are any of them persuadable? Given the fact that, you know, they just don't like these two candidates. And you go back and forth, the Clinton Foundation, Trump's problems, you know, his somersaults on the issues, it just goes back and forth. And, you know, it's the question I'm asking is, how do either of them budge the needle to change where we are? And that's in Clinton's favor because she's ahead.
Kristin?
Yeah, I mean, it is in Clinton's favor. Look, Hillary Clinton has to beat Donald Trump. Trump has to beat Hillary Clinton and the media. Everything's harder for Trump. But to be fair, Steve, I mean, he has not done a great job these past couple of months, up until last week. If Trump wants to do well, if he wants to beat the media machine, he's got to focus his fantastic populist style and his bold energy on the issues and on Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's a very weak candidate. She's very beatable, but if he keeps the focus on himself and personally attacking his critics, he might lose because of that.
All right, so today Hillary gave a speech after Trump. Trump knew what was coming, and Trump said, very reliable sources tell me that Hillary's going to claim that you, my supporters, and me, we're all a bunch of racists. And he said people who want to build a wall and people who want to keep possible terrorists from coming into the country and people who believe in law and order, you know, we're not racist. It's the oldest Democratic trick in the book. So Jonathan, is he right?
Well, he's right that all his supporters aren't racist. Of course not. I mean, he's got approximately 40% of the country behind him. 40% of the country is not racist. His problem is that throughout this campaign, he has kind of dog whistled at times. He's said things like his dispute with the Mexican judge. He's opened himself up to this stuff. He's become a wild card. So, he's vulnerable. And the fact is, both of these candidates are playing to the bases. This tactic is not about persuading Republicans to vote for Hillary Clinton. It's about reminding Hillary Clinton's base that they hate Donald Trump, which they do. And just as a lot of what Trump does is to reminding his bases how much they hate Clinton. It goes back to the favorability ratings, and that's the only reason to vote for these two people, because you just hate the other side.
And Kristin, Hillary brought up at her thing today, her event, this alt-right, saying Breitbart is the leader of the alt-right. Supposedly they're racist, they're this, they're that. I don't know the examples of it. I don't see the examples of it. To me, if anything is alt, if anything is gone overboard and radical left, or radical at all, it's radical left in the Democrat Party. Not only are they not the party of JFK, they're not the party of Bill Clinton. They apologize for the crime bill. They apologize for welfare reform. They apologize for DOMA and Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So everything even Bill Clinton did, they apologize for. They've gone off the left cliff.
That's right. I mean, I don't see what's so racist about wanting to vet the people coming into this country. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take for the left to wake up. I thought the attack in Orlando would make a lot of folks wake up to the threats facing this country, but apparently not. And I don't know what it's going to take. Is it going to take a bomb going off in Washington, D.C.? Is it going to take the Empire State Building coming down? I just don't know. But she will keep playing this race card until she can no longer play it, because it's all she can do. She's a very weak candidate, as I said before, and she really has no policies to run on. So she's going to keep doing this.
And Jonathan, of course, being a journalist at Commentary, you don't endorse and you don't take sides. And one of the things that you're passionate about, as am I, is the state of Israel. And we find out from the New York Post, I think it was on Sunday or Monday, Paul Sperry writes about Abedin. We've known about her family's ties to radical Islamic groups in the past, but Abedin herself, right up until the time she went to the State Department, had her name on the masthead of a radical Muslim publication that her mother still writes for, that her mother wrote in basically saying we had 9/11 coming, basically saying Jews use the Holocaust as a crutch, etc., etc., etc. And this woman, Abedin, Mrs. Anthony Weiner, would probably be the chief of staff to the President of the United States if Hillary's elected. How is that acceptable to Americans, especially to Jews?
Well, the thing about Huma is that these charges have been out there for a while. They have been dismissed, and they have not been answered. And the thing that we have a right to ask of the Clintons and of the whole Clinton machine and their gang of court flunkies and admirers is that they have to answer the question. Huma has to get out there and either deny that she has these beliefs. She's got to answer it.
Why? Hillary doesn't have to have a press conference?
That's what it boils down to.
But she won't.
Because listen, she has been a Clinton flunky for 20 years. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt that she is a faithful follower of her husband, and she's just let's just say she's just a liberal Democrat. So say it. Say you have nothing to do. Deny that you go along with any of these beliefs. If so, let's hear it. If not, people are entitled to be suspicious.
Right. And Kristin, imagine if Donald Trump's, the person who would be chief of staff, mother or father, wrote a piece saying that women should be subservient to men. Forget the 9/11 thing. Just the women should be subservient to men, and that equality is a bad thing, and men are victims of domestic abuse too. But I mean, they destroy Donald Trump. They look for that person to denounce it, etc. But if you dare criticize you somehow are like an Islamophobe.
Oh, yeah. And the press is not going to ask any questions about this. She will not answer any questions because she doesn't have to. And you know what, Steve, what really really makes me the most angry about this. I saw a piece in the Washington Post today about this whole alt-right movement, and it said, you know, Trump demands that Huma step down because she's a Muslim. That's not why he demanded she step down.
That's what the Washington Post said?
Yeah.
I didn't even hear him demand her to step down at all. I wish he would.
Maybe it didn't say step down, but you know, Trump is asking questions because she's a Muslim, making it seem like the fact that she is a Muslim is why Trump is, you know, demanding answers from her. It's just the media is ridiculous, and nobody's holding them accountable.
No, and Hillary basically was on with Anderson Cooper yesterday, Jonathan and Kristin, and said, when asked about holding a press conference, I've done 300 interviews, but would you hold it? But will you have a press conference? Well, you know, stay tuned. She's not going to do it, and she's going to bring up Donald Trump not releasing his taxes as the reason why. Anyway, Jonathan Tobin, Commentary Magazine, Kristin Tate, thelibertarianchick.com. I thank both of you very, very much. All right, up next, it's Gimme 5 plus a special report on Hillary's email problems. So that's all straight ahead. Do not touch that dial.